Alright guys, let's do this for the third time. Good morning, pilgrims, on day 17 on the Camino Francés in reverse. Today we have a 20-kilometer day to Bercianos del Camino, leaving Reliegos behind, where I just have my second breakfast on the outskirts of town. This albergue is where I stayed in 2017 when I crash landed here like that meteorite after walking that 42-kilometer day. I had a first breakfast at the vegan place where I stayed yesterday, Las Hadas, but there just wasn't enough selection, and of course, coffee with no milk is not gonna work for me, so I just had like a little bit of orange juice and a slice of toast. Now, it's been like a change of guard over the last few years here in the Camino in many places. The lady told me that the guy that was there got divorced, couldn't handle the place on his own, so he sold it. Another one told me that the guy retired, and on and on and on. I had a great night's sleep yesterday in my top bunk bed. The temperature was just right. The windows were open, saw the sunset from my bunk bed, which was nice. And then people started waking this morning, waking up around 5:30 and 6. And since we had a full house, and when I went to the bathroom, I saw the line. I decided to switch things up, and I had breakfast first, and then I did the rest later on. So yes, it's cold, man. Right now it's 31 degrees Fahrenheit, which should be around 0 Celsius. And today we have that short day, 20 kilometers from La Meseta. It's actually super short. If you're gonna do long stages, this is definitely the section to do it, because it's all flat and you can push it as far as maybe 35. Don't go above 35. Your body is not gonna like it. We're still on the treadmill. I think the treadmill is gonna end tomorrow. Yes. All right, the sun is peeking over the horizon. I saw a deer, but I couldn't get my phone out quick to get a shot. Let's go for it. This series is sponsored by Rejuvenate Advanced Vitality Cream. Moisturize your skin. Gentle, no irritants. Rejuvenate, where nature meets science. Five kilometers into the treadmill where I find myself right now. I'm passing by the village of Villamarco, which is a little bit away from the path, and I saw a pilgrim sleeping at a rest stop. I also met the first 2 subscribers of the day, a couple from Australia, and we just had a moment there. It's kind of cold, man, and I'm getting burned to a crisp, especially in my hands. I may actually need to get some sunscreens for my hands. And my lips are cracking, my ears have cracked a while back. Those are the first ones to crack on the trips. And yeah, today might be a short video because, as you can tell, it's like everything looks the same. So I'll get a few shots in between the towns. When I get to a Burgo Ranero, I need to shift my attitude towards that town. Yes, I have to. Because yes, that was the one town on my first Camino that really did a number of me and left kind of like a bad taste. And ever since, I've been trying to avoid it and just pass through. But I need to make amends. Reliegos, everything changed yesterday with all the things that I encountered there. So El Burgo Ranero, I think, I have a good story about El Burgo Ranero. In 2022, when I drove the Camino, in reverse, when I took out my 3D camera to do that 3D video of the entire Camino, the highlights of the Camino, I drove from Santiago to St. John Pied de Port and then back to Pamplona before going on a flight to Italy to do the Via di Francesco. And one of the hospitaleros here in El Burgo Ranero, a subscriber, told me, you have to stay here with us. So that was The only time on that entire trip where I actually stayed at an albergue, and it was nice because it has been like 4 years since I'd done my first Camino, and I was staying on the Camino Francés once again at an albergue surrounded by pilgrims. And the next morning, much like now, I started heading in the other direction, but this time with a car. Here's Excalibur. Let's take a picture of it. It's not really Excalibur, but that's what I like to call her. Yeah, still can't get it out. I guess I'm not the chosen one. 10:30 in the morning, already walked 13 kilometers to get to El Burgo Ranero. Yes, met a lot of pilgrims along the way, including another subscriber from Brazil. Yes. All right. It's getting a little bit windy and chilly. I've had to use my my fleece jacket with a hoodie and the umbrella to block out the sun. Right now it's getting cloudy, so I got a little bit of protection. Let's head to that bar. I'm really hoping that it's open, where they serve you the beer in like a tiny mug. Now the question in the back of my mind is the place open? Because everything here looks bad. And it is, yeah. Sadly, I didn't get the beer mug, the tiny one, but I do have a picture from last year. And I decided to make my lunch stand here because I don't know what's coming up ahead. So I had a ham and eggs and tomato sandwich and the beer. And I just wanted to mention that this stretch from Reliegos to El Burgo Ranero, or Burgo Raneros to Reliegos, which is 13 kilometers long, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's like the longest section of the entire Camino Francés where you have zero support, zero. I know there's a section that's 17 kilometers from Carrión de los Condes to the next town. I think it's the official halfway point, unofficial, if you started in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. And there's a food truck that every time I pass by is there. So that means that this is the section where you need to grab just a little snack maybe. Depends on what time of the day you do it. You can always have lunch here in El Burgo Ranero, fill up with carbs, and then go straight to Reliegos. Reliegos now has all the support that you need. It wasn't like that before. Now you have 2 bars, restaurants, you have a supermarket, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 places to stay. And since it's only 25 kilometers from León, I think eventually it will become kind of like the end of the stage for most people. Okay, 6 kilometers to Bercianos, where I will be staying since I already had lunch and it is 11:30. I think I'll be there around 12:30 in the afternoon. So I'm gonna have the whole afternoon just to relax and enjoy the Albergue. I need to do laundry. Well, not really neat, but I'm doing it every other day. So this seems like a place where I could do it. If not, I still have one set of clothes and do it tomorrow in Terradillos de Templario after I cross the halfway point in Salgun. So that's the plan. Let's see if I'll stick to it. And we're back on the treadmill. Left, 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 right, left, 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 right, left. that time of the day when I confirmed my reservation, I made a note that we're at Albergue where I'm staying, Albergue La Perla. They wanted me to call on the same day. So let's do it. Because I really don't want to show up and not have a bed. It's not gonna happen. But anyways. Switching over to Spanish now.
Good morning, Albergue La Perala.
Hola, buenos días. Estoy llamando para confirmar una reservación que yo hice para hoy. Mi nombre es Efren González.
Efraín González para una persona
Sí.
y una habitación compartida.
Vale, vale. Ya estoy casi ahí.
Sí, está por aquí, ¿no?
Sí, sí, estoy a 6 kilómetros.
Vale.
Bueno, hasta luego.
Que no ve, muchacho.
There you go. There you go. I got it. And it just so happens that the guy answered in English. That goes to show you that a lot of foreigners doing the Camino Francés. Yesterday, I was talking to the lady from that runs Las Huellas Albergue, and also the guy that was cooking the meal. We all started talking there about, everything Camino related, of course, and about the town. And the guy told me that most people that pass by are foreigners, that very few are Spanish, and most of the Spaniards, they just do the last 100 kilometer section. We already know that. So, they're starting to learn a little bit of English, at least enough to communicate with the pilgrims as they pass by. So I told them I'm like 6 kilometers away. So that's like an hour and a half. Not an hour, that would be too fast. They say an hour and a half, let's make it 1 p.m. All right. It's cool. I mean, it's not as hot as it has been on like yesterday around this time. I didn't have my fleece jacket and I was baking. Today it feels much nicer because of this little breeze that we have. But the umbrella is coming out. Man, I got pulled over by a cyclist. Not those two. One that's actually going like me, going backwards. And we started talking. He started in Lisboa and he's going as far as Copenhagen, which is still quite the journey to be made. And I highly, highly recommend it to him to do the Via Podiensis if he can, because of course that section from Conques to Le Puy-en-Velay for me is one of the most beautiful sections of any Caminos that I've done. So it is time. Yes, it is. It's time to do a little French class. Of course, let's go for it.
De nuit.
De nuit. De nuits. Tonight. Dos noches. De nuit.
J'écoute la radio ici.
J'écoute la radio ici. Yo escucho la radio aquí. I listen to the radio here. L'écoute la radio ici.
Un enfant.
Un enfant. It's funny how he mimicked the voice of the character. Sometimes I wonder what my French voice will be like, because I know that I have an English voice, a Spanish voice which is less high pitch. So I'm wondering in French what it will be, what it will turn out to be. Maybe it's one of these characters with a Cuban accent.
Lundi, mardi, mercredi.
Lundi, mardi, mercredi. Feel like I'm in The Godfather. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Lunes, martes, miércoles.
Il y a une radio dans le salon.
Il y a un radio dans le salon. There is a radio in the salon. Hay una radio en el salón. Ooh, umbrella, where you going? I think we got enough, don't you? I'll keep practicing. It was Chris from Wales who welcomed me here to Bercianos del Real Camino at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. The albergue is actually on the opposite side of town, so I had to go right through it and then make my way there. By the way, I made a phone call for tomorrow's reservation, and also to find out if they have the laundry service, and they do, so I don't have to worry about doing laundry today. So that's one less thing to worry about. I'm really digging the changing architecture from the exposed bricks to this muddy, what is it, like adobe houses, that they're very typical of the region, with those bodegas burying to the sides of the hills. I mean, talk about a change from, let's say, the brick houses, the stone houses in Galicia. Every region has its own thing, has its charm, its different types of food and culture, and you know how it goes. Well, here we go. This is the Albergue where I'm gonna be staying, and it is time to park the car in this modern looking huge albergue that has everything that you need. This is kind of like an all-inclusive where you have to have breakfast and dinner here because you're kind of far away from everything. It was Kate from Australia that met me just as I was leaving the town. So what's the count up to right now? Like 4 or 5? I don't know. I think I lost track. Look at the size of this thing. Well, here we are at the end of a long hall. We find ourselves in a room with no bunk bed, which is just perfect. Let's go security camera mode over here. Yep, 4, and I decided to go for this one. Why? Because I want the extra space to lay out all my stuff, even though it's right next to the bathroom. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I need the space. They all have an outlet to charge my gear, which I can throw my extension cord. So here's the toilet, private toilet with a shower for as many people as they can fit in here, which is 4. Got a nice view of the front of the building. Oh, today I'm locked in here. I can't get out. They already showed me, and I paid for the daily menu for dinner, and then breakfast tomorrow is at 7:30. Kind of late. Like it. This way I can wake up at 7 as I used to before people started waking up at 6 recently, and then just head out as soon as the sun comes out. Tomorrow's gonna be like I think it's like a 23-kilometer day. I'm doing short stages in La Meseta overall, I guess. But La Meseta specifically, where I usually do my long stages, I'm taking it easy. Oof, look at this. Just getting ideas for you know what. We got a full house in this albergue with over 20 pilgrims in a village where there's really not much to do. I can see Sahagún from here, the halfway point of the Camino Francés. Maybe I should have stayed there, but then it would make tomorrow's stage super short, and I don't want to do that. So in my room, I got 4 pilgrims in total, including myself. We got a Spaniard, 2 Koreans, and a Cuban. And the Spaniards already gave us a preview of what's coming tonight. Yes, that's how it is. No need to do laundry here. I'll do it tomorrow, and walked around the town, which is, not much to see there. It's a tiny village, and I didn't realize it, but today is actually a holiday in the, what's it called? The autonomous region of Castilla y León. Also the one in Aragon, but you know, I'll get there. I'll get there when I do the Camino Aragonés in a month or so, in a few weeks. What else? What else do we have? Not much, man. It's just been chilling here, relaxing in this huge albergue just outside of town, which is back there. I don't know if you can see it. And there's only one thing left to do, and that is thank, of course, the trail angels, the trail angel of the day, which today is gonna be all the subscribers that I met. But most importantly, of course, we have Vivian Marshall. Thank you, Vivian, for the trail magic and for the support. Without you guys, man, none of this would be happening. Nothing. I would just be at home, probably working a 9-to-5 job. I miss those days sometimes, but not today. See you guys tomorrow bright and early. We have breakfast at 7:30, and then we head out and get to cross the halfway point of the Camino Francés. It's gonna be a glorious day. Can't wait to meet a few more subscribers tomorrow for sure. See you then.